Tana Mongeau is calling out Brittany Broski following her response to the Cody Co situation. Tana talked about this on her Patreon, but clips have been going around online, and Trisha Paytas is talking about how because everyone's talking about it, she wanted to talk about it, so now we're talking about it. I won't play the clips from the Patreon, but Trisha does reveal a lot on her podcast about what Tana says. The information is really revealing, not only just in terms of what Tana is feeling towards Brittany and what she had to say, but also more information about Cody. Now, like I said, this all has to do with the Cody Co situation, where it had recently been made very public that Cody had been with Tana when she was 17. Though some people had known about this information, as Tana had alluded to it in the past, she was straight up confirming it now, and once it became a huge story, people were looking towards those associated with Cody to see if they were going to speak out. Brittany Broski has been quite close with Cody, and they've collaborated a number of times, and when she made a statement about all of this, she was met with some backlash, given that she said, "I'm crushed to learn about the Cody allegations. If it's proven to be true, then that's extremely upsetting. As a collaborator and longtime fan, I find all of this disturbing, inappropriate, and just flat out disappointing." And the "if it's proven to be true" part really didn't sit well with a lot of people, and they were disappointed in what she had to say, especially Tana, which she ended up talking about on the Patreon episode of her podcast, which she said one of the more upsetting parts to all of this were like the Brittany Broskis of it all, who don't seem to want to full on believe her claims. Trisha and her co-host Oscar, when talking about this, said that they felt Tana did want this out there, or at least was okay with people seeing these clips from the Patreon of her talking about Brittany Broski and talking about Cody Co, because of the fact that they had hired a company to take down clips if people were reposting from their Patreon, but this was one of the clips that was left up on some TikTok accounts who had reposted it. I'm still not going to show the exact Patreon clip, but I'll show you guys Trisha and Oscar talking about what Tana had said. Just because Trisha is friends with Tana and she's been on the podcast many times, that if Trisha is talking about it, then it's definitely got to be okay for everybody else to be talking about it, because I'm pretty sure if Tana was like, "Don't talk about what I talked about on Patreon," then Trisha would have taken it down. So this is why we're playing Trisha's clip talking about it.
And they have like a team now to take down clips, so I think if it's still out there, then I think they're okay with this particular information coming out too. So like Tana, it was specifically them talking about like the Brittany Broski statement. She said like the specific thing that made her sad about the whole situation was like, direct quote, like the Brittany Broskis of it all, like So that did make me feel sad, because like I was trying to like, you know, be a little bit sympathetic towards Brittany navigating a really hard space, but at the same time it's like it broke my heart for Tana, even if I didn't like know the girl. Like just hearing someone say like, "Oh, this is like the saddest part," is like other girls like kind of like casting doubt on me, you know, like that did like really break my heart. Really
when
sad.
It's very, very obvious at this point. And it was obvious even when Brittany said it. Obviously the silence, obviously she felt compelled enough to make the statement, so she knew, like this is some deep Cody's in, like I have to make a statement. So it's like, you could have just made the statement, took down the videos, just like not associating with Cody anymore, not put in the throw in the "if it's true." It's like, well, girl, at this point it's very, very obvious.
On the same Patreon podcast episode, they had talked about how it was frustrating given what's already happened between them and Brittany, which if you don't know, there was a whole drama with Brittany telling Brooke and Tana that she couldn't do their podcast because her fans would stab and grill her on a campfire. And they were just so upset, being fans of Brittany, loving her, wanting her on their podcast, and to hear her say essentially like that her fans don't like them was really hurtful. But then she'll collab with people who do have controversial pasts like Cody Co, which even before this whole Tana situation, he already had kind of a shaky past with things that he's said and he's been called out for. So they were just kind of like, you know, why would you collab with Cody Co, but you won't collab with Tana? And once Tana and Brooke had talked about this on their podcast, Brittany fans did hear about this and they commented like, you know, "We would have loved you on Canceled," but given that now they were in some drama because they kind of called her out for not wanting to do their podcast, it just never happened and probably never will. And in talking about the current situation, Brooke, Paige, and Tana talked about knowing where Brittany's loyalties lie, and that after Brittany's statement recently, Tana just felt like it was so clear that Brittany would do anything for Tana to fail. At least that's what she was feeling in seeing Brittany question the truth of it all. On the Patreon, Tana had also revealed more about her and Cody, saying that it wasn't just one time that she had been with him, that there were actually so many times that they had hooked up across the years. And she had actually gone through her phone to look through their messages, showing just how much they had talked when she was 17, and also saying that she was such a big fan of him. She was talking to him about his Vines. You know, he was messaging her back about Vines. And that was like just the sad part of it all, just the abuse of power here. And she had even asked Brooke and Paige while looking at these messages, how old was I on April 28th, 2015, which she would have been 16 at the time of those messages, which is horrifying. Which when Trisha heard about this, clearly she had to bring this to the public on her own podcast.
Like Tana, it was specifically them talking about like the Brittany Broski statement, like if true, if these claims are true, whatever. And she was like, well, if true, it's like, well, it was definitely more than once. And then she even pulled up her Twitter DMs between her and Cody and scrolled like all the way back.
Yeah.
And doing the math, it was like when she was 16 is when they were like DMing each other. So not even 17, way before that. So.
And not an isolated incident. Like, oops, she almost was 18. She was about to turn 18. It was a big con. I didn't know. Like, it was like, no, this was a full-on relationship of sorts, at least talking, communicating.
On Patreon, Tana went on to talk about how it makes her upset that people have branded her as someone who is dramatic and a liar, saying that any effed up story she's ever told is true, admitting that she might be dramatic, but she isn't lying about anything that's serious, and that isn't something that you would just make up, like what she has been talking about. But despite all that has come out, it doesn't seem like Cody will be affected much, as he's still got his DJ residency in Vegas with the show next month, and he is still going to be a part of the TMG Studios, which is the podcast network that him and Noelle Miller own. They put out a statement recently that they had originally sent out just to their employees, but they later made the statement public that said that Cody would essentially just be taking a back seat. Not that he was leaving the company or anything, but he was just not going to be as hands-on and probably just like not interacting with the employees, but he was still just going to be like, you know, taking the check at the end of the month. They wrote, "This morning we shared the note below with the employees of TMG Studios. We wanted to share it with you as well. Our shows will resume in the coming weeks. Thank you for your support. Hi everyone. We want to start by thanking you all for your patience while we were working to figure out the best path forward for the studio. We know it's been a very strenuous few weeks for everyone, and we really appreciate your willingness to bear with us. You are the most creative and incredible group of people. We feel so lucky to work with all of you. TMG Studios is what it is because of you. We couldn't be more proud of the incredible roster of talent we've been privileged to work with and everything we've accomplished together. As we enter into this next phase of the studio, we want to let you know that Cody will not be involved in the day-to-day operations at TMG Studios. What has transpired over the past few weeks is a personal issue for him, and Cody wants to remove any effect that it is having on your professional and personal lives and the work you and our other hosts have done to make TMG Studios so successful. Noelle will continue to lead the team. His top priority remains the life and growth of the studio and its talent. Our audiences sees your hard work every week, and we want that to continue. They deserve it, and so do you. We have built something truly special, and he's committed to keeping that alive and well. Sincerely, Cody and Noelle." People certainly had things to say about this, just given the fact that Cody is still technically part of TMG Studios and will be working there in some capacity. He might be taking a back seat and not interacting with other employees, but he's still there and essentially is supporting TMG, is supporting Cody, and that's the part that people don't really want to be the case. Which is why people have really praised Emergency Intercom, which is hosted by Enya and Drew, for leaving TMG Studios and doing their podcast independently following all of this. More recently, Noelle has even put out a statement on the TMG For Real Instagram account saying, "Hey everyone, I want to say thank you for the messages and support. It means a lot to me. I'll be back up next week with a new episode of TMG. See you soon. Thank you, Noelle." So it seems like he's going to go forward doing their podcast that they did together solo, at least for now. TMG Studios also recently changed the description of their channel, writing TMG Podcast is a podcast where Noelle Miller talks on a microphone. It's a podcast, premium episodes at tmgstudios.tv. So I guess we'll just have to see if he even brings this up on the podcast episode that he is about to do this coming week. I feel like probably not, but who knows? As of right now, Cody hasn't said anything publicly, but that is what has been said by Tana. That's what she had to say about Brittany Broski, what TMG has come out to say. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.
Bye.